Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs win. Cry, Eagles, cry.
Great, excited to be back in the league.
You know, every day I got the Three Stooges in the studio with me is a good fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's make sure he gets that bag.
F-R-A-U-D-S, fries! Woo!
Justin's way ahead in picks. That's all that you need to fucking know.
Show's over.
Show's over. We're going home. I'd like to welcome you back to another page of the Playbook Sports Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day number 6 of 32 NFL offseasons in 32 days. And this one's a little special because there's 5 of us that do this show, and one of them's a big old Bears fan, my buddy Ao. Ao, you're going to want to listen to this one, pal, because you're going to enjoy this. Today, we are going to grade the Chicago Bears offseason and draft. Coming into this offseason, there were a few things that we knew with some serious certainty. It was, number one, Chicago Bears, first most available cap space in the league, and they were going to use it. Second, there was no way on this planet that the Bears were going to be picking at number 1 when the NFL draft came around, and both of those things came to fruition. Let's talk about the additions that the Chicago Bears made. Yes, they did get rid of Roquan Smith last year in a trade, but they went out and added Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards at the linebacker position and will be paying that duo slightly more than Roquan will make on his own, and that's not bad business, folks. I like the addition of Andrew Billings and DeMarcus Walker to that defensive line. And then on the offensive side, they brought in Nate Davis to compete at guard. They brought in Dante Foreman at running back. And then the big move that I haven't even talked about, the trade down with Carolina was an absolute stroke of genius by that man right there, Ryan Poles. What an absolutely great trade. They sent number 1 overall to Carolina in exchange for number 9, number 61, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2025 second-round pick. And if you told me that that was what the Bears got in that trade, I would think, oh, that's really good value because that first-rounder next year from Carolina could be a top 10 pick. I don't see why it couldn't. But then not only did they get that, but they held up the Carolina Panthers at gunpoint and said, you're going to give us DJ Moore, even if you don't want to, which they didn't. Apparently, the GM was in tears when he had to call DJ Moore and tell him he was just traded. Fantastic work by Ryan Poles to bring him in. I said it this entire season on so many different podcasts. If you have a young quarterback, you will never know what they are unless you get them a number 1 wide receiver. How many times did we see Justin Fields throw a great ball last year that was dropped? How many times did he took off running all those times, not because he wanted to. He doesn't want to take those hits. He doesn't want to burn all the tread on his tires. It's because nobody's open. Chase Claypool's a go up and get it guy. Darnell Mooney's a really good, 2 or 3, but he's not a number 1. DJ Moore is a number 1. I mean, he'd already be in the top echelon of Chicago Bears wide receivers all time, and he hasn't even taken a snap with him yet when it comes to statistics. Fantastic, fantastic trade. I cannot talk about it enough. I do wish with all their money that they had available to them, I wish they would have maybe touched on the offensive line just a little bit more. I thought for sure they were going to walk away with a splashy signing like Mike McGlinchey or even Juwan Taylor, but they did address it, and they addressed it in the draft. And we'll talk about that in just a second here. But as far as losses go, none. And similarly to the Carolina Panthers and what I said in yesterday's video, it's hard to call anybody that walked from this roster a key loss because, again, no offense, the Bears had the first overall pick in the draft. They were quite literally the worst team in the NFL last season. That is not up for debate. Their record shows they were the worst team in the NFL last year. That's the cold, hard truth. That means that roster needed talent. And so anybody who walked, that's fine. See ya. That's okay. If you aren't good enough to make it on the Bears roster as it was constructed last season, then good riddance. See ya. But yeah, no key losses really this offseason for the Chicago Bears. Now let's talk draft. So, yeah, nope, they didn't get a right tackle in free agency. So we were talking our mock drafts. A lot of us talked about Darnell Wright, especially as we got closer. Apparently, the Bears just kind of fell in love with him as a prospect. And if you haven't already, go to our website, www.playbooksportspodcast.com, and give AO's article a read. It's called, Did the Bears Make the Right Pick? we all think that the Bears made the right pick. Love that pick. I was really high on Darnell Wright earlier on. I frequently, when he was talked about as a late 20s draft pick, I always had him mid to late teens. I mocked him to the Bucs several times. He was one of the top-rated recruits coming out of high school as a tackle, and then he was dominant at Tennessee. Go put on the tape, people. Grind the all-22. Grind the tape, because he locked up top-tier edge rushers all season long on a Tennessee Volunteers team that was very, very solid. He was fantastic this season. And no, it's not a sexy draft pick, and it's not one you love to talk about because it's not the flashy stuff. But damn it, does he not make the Bears better day one as maybe the most talented offensive lineman on their line from day one. Love that pick, and I like that they were even able to trade down to 10 with the Eagles, pick up an extra fourth-round pick, which they may have used to get one of these guys I'm going to talk about. I'm not sure. But love that, and they still got their guy. Well done, Chicago. I was super worried that they were going to want to take the girl next door and Peter Skoronski because he was playing at Northwestern. I'm so glad that they did not, because Skoronski's going to be a guard, not a tackle, and they needed a tackle. They did not have one, and they got him. Fantastic pick. Other value I loved in the draft was Roschon Johnson in the 4th round. Now, I don't know if that was the pick that they got from the Eagles. If it was, even better. I think Roschon Johnson is one of the 5 best running backs in this draft class. I think if he was not playing behind somebody named Bijan Robinson, maybe you've heard of him, I think he could have been one of the earlier running backs drafted. The guy's a freak athlete, and he's going to have the most tread on his tires as any other running back coming out because Bijan took all the carries. I really think Roschon is going to be their running back number 1 come start of the season. I think they're going to get into training camp, and they're going to be like, oh, shoot, we got a guy here. And he's going to get a ton of snaps. So if you're a fantasy football person and you like Dynasty especially, I would be targeting Roschon Johnson. I think he's going to be a stud for them. I really liked what the Bears did. Again, like I said, no, they didn't make any splashy picks, but they took a lot of hard-nosed grinder players, and I loved that. That feels like a Bears draft. Ryan Poles, nice work. I give him an A- for his draft. Offseason as a whole, I really think the Bears pushed all the right buttons. I love the additions, a lot of low-key additions. They rebuilt the defensive side of the ball. They went and got Justin Fields that weapon that he desperately needed. They got him a right tackle. I really like what they're doing. Well done, Ryan Poles. You're already proving to be a significantly better general manager than Ryan Pace. I'm giving Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears an A- for this offseason. So an A- for their draft and an A- for their offseason. Now, when it comes to what kind of team the Chicago Bears are, I don't think they're trying to fool anybody. I think that the Bears are going to be in every game to some degree, but it's not common where a team goes from worst to first like the Jaguars did. But it just is super, super uncommon that things happen, and I think the Bears still need more of that upper echelon talent if they want to start being viewed as NFC contenders. I think they're another year or 2 away from that. Another season of development is definitely needed in Chicago. And you know what? If that Panthers pick ends up real high, there's a certain Ohio State receiver that I'm sure would love to work with Justin Fields in that Chicago offense. And every Bears fan would have that jersey right away. But none of that takes away from the fact that this offseason was very well done by Chicago. They did what we thought they would do, and that was kick this rebuild off, really, and get it going and see what they can do this year. I'm not sure we'll know the schedule in a couple of days here, so I'm interested to see who their schedule is, if it's favorable, what they've got on there. But it could be it's a good time to be a Bears fan, looking forward to the future. They got through the bad year that they had to, being the worst team in the league, and now it's only upward from here. So that's what I've got for the Chicago Bears. Let me know what you guys think about that down below, and we will be back at it with day number 7 tomorrow. Thanks.